group. I appreciate it. Thank you, Donald. Welcome to the Seniors Network Group. My name is Heather Brooks, Donald Maycott, Debbie Gentry, and Laura, and I welcome you to our group. Tonight we have Jeffrey, and Jeffrey is here talking YouTube, stuff that I don't think many of us really know much about, but I want to know more about because I know that racking up those views are important. And I started kind of stalking you on YouTube, and you're a pretty kind of popular guy. You might know what you're talking about. So
well, thank you.
Can you please give us some information about yourself? I'm just going to ask everybody to mute themselves. So Jeffrey's going to take the stage here. Jeffrey, would you like us to monitor the chat? Do you monitor the chat? Do you want to wait till the end to ask questions? Just let us know.
I think I've got it all set up, and I might turn my camera off just so I don't get too distracted here, but can you guys all see my screen starting a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's what we're going to talk about today, starting a YouTube channel. I'm going to go over
Uh-oh. Maybe he turned off his camera is what I'm thinking. Laura, do you want to check in on him?
Yes, I'll check in with him.
Let him know. He looks like a YouTube channel, his YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't seen his YouTube channel, that would be the exact picture.
I run it.
Wait, are you there, Jeff? Jeffrey?
Jeffrey?
Hello, Jeffrey? I'm not sure he can hear us. So I'll just kind of take over. No, we can't hear you. It's kind of choppy. Oh, there you are. Yeah, we didn't get anything you said.
Okay. How about now? Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly. Can you start over, please?
Sure. So my name's Jeff BUETTNER. And if at any point in time you guys can't hear me, just put something in the text chat. We should be good here. So my name is Jeff BUETTNER. I run a team here out in Arizona called Core Consultants. I also host a podcast all specifically for real estate agents called After the License. But a little bit about my background. I got into real estate at 18 years old in 2008. So I'm going to date myself a little bit. But what I realized starting in the business at 18 is I didn't have a huge sphere of influence, didn't have a database, a group of people that I could rely on, right? My friends weren't going to buy a house, weren't ready to buy houses. And so I always had to look to the internet to generate leads. And so I was a part of a real estate team. We did short sales, we did foreclosures. And so I created a website, and I did a website all around short sales. And the first call I got off that website, granted it took about 6-7 months, was from a gentleman who had 20.
You're cutting out again, Jeff. I hope you can hear me. Okay. Oh, don't you love technical difficulties?
Well, let's see here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, okay. I can hear you.
Try something here. I'm going to see if that is any better. I
can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So I was part of a real estate team. And I realized I couldn't sell. I didn't have a database, a sphere of influence to rely on. So there we go. So I had to look to the internet to kind of build my business. So I created a website, and the first call I got off that website was from a gentleman who had 20 listings to sell. So that was really when I realized the power of the internet and power of marketing yourself online. And so I've done a lot of things over the last 13 years in the real estate industry. Some of you guys probably recognize my name. I actually worked for EXP from 2015 to 2020 as a product manager. I did a lot of their technology training and their marketing, helped them roll out KV Core and the Making It Rain program. In 2020, I transitioned back to being an agent and back into the real estate side of things because I loved kind of helping agents, training agents, and working on building my team. So that's my high level overview, and hopefully we can get some good value out of today's session. So today we're going to be talking all about YouTube. We're going to touch on why YouTube, why it's important. We're going to touch on keys to success. We're going to go over shooting videos We're going to talk about editing them. We're going to talk about what kind of content you should be thinking about. And then we're also at the very end going to actually post the video so that you can see what like a perfectly optimized video on YouTube looks like. Okay. So first question everyone always says is why YouTube, right? So there's a lot of social media sites out there. Why YouTube? Why do we want to think about YouTube? Well, the biggest thing is YouTube is the second most popular website on the internet. The first one is Google. We all utilize Google a ton. We search for things on Google. YouTube is right up there. And what's funny enough is Google actually owns YouTube, which is powerful in itself. So when people search for things on Google, guess what? Your YouTube videos have a chance to pop up. But additionally, people are actually using YouTube as a search engine as well. And so when we talk about why YouTube, what's powerful is YouTube is really two things. It's a social media site, but it's also a search engine in itself. So if any of you guys use YouTube, it might be because you're connected with someone and you want to learn about their life and you're following them and they're an influencer. But more often than not, we're going to YouTube to figure out how to change the oil in our car, how to fix the refrigerator, how to grow a garden, right? And so your consumer, the real estate consumer, is doing the same exact thing. They're going to YouTube to learn about the real estate transaction. How do they buy their first house? How do they move into a senior living community? What are the best communities out there? What is your city and your town like? So people are going to YouTube to learn about what you're an expert at. And so when we put content on YouTube, we can really showcase ourselves as thought experts, which is really, really, really powerful. In terms of social media sites, well, the one thing I love about YouTube is the content doesn't go away as quickly. And if you've done anything else on any other social media platform, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, you probably realize that you post something, it tends to live, it feels like, on the internet for a couple of days, and then it kind of goes away, right? It doesn't have the same weight behind it. It kind of runs itself through the algorithm, and then the algorithm pushes something else new up there, right? And so with YouTube, that is not the case. And that's what makes YouTube so powerful. Again, if you go and do a YouTube search for whatever it is, gardening, changing the oil, most likely in those search results, you're going to see videos that were posted 6 months ago, 9 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. So when you post something to YouTube, if it's valuable and people are watching it and it's engaging, it has the opportunity to live on for a really long time. And you just can't say that about posting to Instagram or Facebook in the same way. Okay. So what are the keys to success? And we're going to touch on all the nuts and bolts here. But the keys to success with YouTube is understanding your goal. What are you trying to get out of YouTube? Are you trying to become an influencer? Are you trying to get clients? Are you trying to connect with your consumer? More often than not, in real estate, that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect with clients. We're trying to connect with consumers. So understanding that goal is the number one key to success. The second key to success is, I put on here starting today. It doesn't have to be today, but starting as soon as possible. And the reason I say that is so often with anything video related, anything social media related, we tend to put these roadblocks in our own way. We say, I'm going to do it in next week once I have X, Y, and Z figured out. And the reality is especially with YouTube, you just have to start and put content out and then get better every video that you put out there. So that's really my third key to success is you have to just start publishing and focus on getting better. Every video is not going to be perfect. I can promise you, you're probably not going to love your videos. I post videos every week and there's never one that I post that I'm like, I just love that one. That one was fantastic, right? We always find things about ourselves that we don't love and we're insecure about, but the reality is we just have to publish and get better with it. And then the final key to success with YouTube is really just consistency. It's about publishing videos on a regular basis so that you can engage with your consumer, engage with the people who are searching what you want to be found for, but you're also kind of engaging that YouTube algorithm. And again, we're going to touch on more of this as we progress through, and this will make sense again as I actually upload a video in front of you. But hopefully those keys to success make some sense. So let's touch on, I think, maybe the most difficult part, the actual creating of the video, right? There are a lot of things to think about in this realm. And so making sure, okay, I'm still making sure my sound's coming through here. So we're going to touch on some things from a high level, and then we're going to get some good granular with some of this. The videos you record, first and foremost, should be horizontal. Okay. So you're going to want to shoot videos horizontal. That's a question we see a ton these days, is which direction, what size. At the end of the day, your video should be horizontal. So, lengthwise, left to right. They should be in the highest quality that you can. And again, we'll touch on equipment here in a little bit, but whatever your highest quality is, the higher the quality, the better. Now, I'm not saying you have to be in high definition or you have to be in 4K, but the highest quality you can shoot is usually the best. And then the length of the video should be as short as possible while covering your topic thoroughly. Okay, that's another question that people have all the time is, should I do 2-minute videos or 10-minute videos or 15-minute videos? At the end of the day, whatever your topic is going to be, maybe it's moving to your city, the pros and cons about your city. The length of the video doesn't matter as much as covering the topic, being engaging, and being as short as possible, because people have a short attention span in 2022. But as long as we're engaging and we cover the topic, you're in a good spot. Okay. So those are some general rules to think about before you shoot anything, right? Horizontal, highest quality that you can, but don't let it be a roadblock for you. And then in terms of length, don't get too caught up on it. It has to be 6 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes. Really, you want as short of a video as possible, but covering the topic thoroughly. Okay. So equipment, this is, again, another big hurdle that people have. They feel like they have to go buy a fancy camera. They feel like they have to, can you guys hear me okay? Okay. We're still perfect. They feel like they have to go have some fancy equipment to get started. And my biggest thing is telling people is you really don't need a ton. And more often than not, what you have probably at your house is going to suffice in a lot of ways. So the first thing is you don't need to go and buy a special camera to start on YouTube. If you have a phone that's somewhat updated, so I would say if you purchased it in the last year or two, that phone is going to be sufficient enough to actually go and shoot YouTube videos. Your camera now in your phone, more often than not, again, if it's a recent phone, can shoot in 1080. It can shoot as 4K. So again, we talked about you can use your phone, use the actual camera on your phone. Don't use one of the social media apps. Use your actual camera on your phone and use that to record the video. The one trick that a lot of people forget about on their camera phone is the camera on the back of the phone is actually a lot better than the camera on the phone in most cases. So use your camera, but actually look at the back of the phone. Okay. And I know that's sometimes tough because we want to be able to see ourselves and see how we're doing, but use the back of the camera on the back of the phone. It's actually tends to be a higher quality camera, a better camera, and you can use that to shoot video. There are two things separate from just the video quality that are important when shooting. And the first one is good sound. So even if you had really bad video quality, if you have good sound, you can create, believe it or not, a good video. And again, you don't need anything fancy. What I tell people is you can start with just recording on your phone. And if you want to upgrade your sound a little bit, you can get what they call a lavalier mic, one of those little mics you clip on your shirt. And you can get one that plugs right into your phone for like $10 or $15 on Amazon. And that's a fantastic way to upgrade your sound just a tad. And that will really increase the quality of your videos. And then the other big key that a lot of people miss is just good lighting. Lighting is really key to whatever your image is going to appear, right? And so you can buy, again, a cheap light on Amazon. They have the cheap ring lights. I'm sure you guys have seen them pop up. People joke about them because they're social media related, right? But you can buy a cheap ring light for $20 to $30. You can also just set yourself up in front of a window where the light hits your face and isn't hitting the camera. And that's a great spot to actually record videos. So just shooting in front of your window will do when you're starting out. You eventually might want to get some type of light. Again, you don't have to break the bank for it, $20, $30 for a light. And you just want it to kind of show on your face so that you appear clear and people can see you. And then finally, if you are going to use a camera or even your phone, I always recommend a stand of some sort. Again, you don't have to break the bank. I don't have anything particular to recommend to you, but go and buy a stand for your phone so that you can stand it up on your desk. You can stand it up on the your windowsill. You can pile some books on the windowsill and stand it up so that you're not holding it, but you can just kind of set it. It's stable and you can hit record and you can start that recording process. Okay. So any questions before I move on the equipment piece or just the general tips on the recording the videos? And then if not, I'm happy to move on to some other tips here. Sounds like my audio is still good here. Oh, go ahead.
I got a question. So if you're using your phone and you want to take what I'll call a break, how do you make a smooth transition so you can't just get up and turn your phone off without having to do a lot of editing? What do you use or how do you make that a smooth break?
That's a good question. So a lot of that is going to be done with the editing, right? So you're right. I mean, so what I'll do when I'm shooting a video is I just try and shoot it. And even if I have to take a breath or I have to go and look at my notes, I just do that. I don't get up and hit the pause button or stop the recording. I will just edit that piece out of the video. There's not an easy way that I know of where you can go in and like, especially if you're standing a little far away, where you can start and stop. And to the opposite effect, what I found is like, if I record it in a bunch of different batches, it seems more difficult to then kind of go and try and edit it all together. It's easier if it's one big clip and I can kind of chop up different pieces of it. Does that help at all?
Yeah, so like on a regular camera, you can get the remotes where you can stop and start. There's nothing like that for a phone.
I think there is. So that's a good point. I haven't looked at it in forever, but I do think you can get like a little Bluetooth remote. And I actually think I have an old stand that came with a Bluetooth remote that had like a little Bluetooth button on it that you could start and stop. So there might be something out there like that. There we go. Helen said a remote came with one of my ring lights. And so I think that's a good question or a good point. I think there are some of those. I would, depending on how long of a break you need, like I said, if you just need to look at your notes or take a breath or drink a glass of water, I would maybe encourage you to just keep it in one clip. I think it's a little bit easier to edit later, but if you wanted to do multiple clips, you could potentially use that remote as an option. So great question. Any other questions on equipment? Okay. Perfect. Anything else comes up, we'll try and address it at the end, but don't hesitate to put it in that text chat there. But ultimately sound and lighting and just having stability on the shot, I think are just three underrated pieces. And again, you don't have to spend a bunch of money and break the bank to make those happen, which is nice, right? You can just kind of be intentional about it and you end up in a pretty good spot. So let's talk about what makes a good video, right? We want to post something on YouTube that does well. We want to have success. There's some keys that I've learned in I think I've recorded now a couple hundred videos on YouTube. There's some keys that if you think about them and you're strategic about them in the beginning, can help make it so that your video has more success and ultimately has more views. The first one, and it just is going to take practice and it's not going to feel natural, but your first 10 seconds in a video are really, really important to convincing someone to watch the rest of it. Right. And so I encourage everyone, before you even hit record, like when you're thinking about a topic of your video, think about what that first 10 seconds is going to look like. And so again, your video might be telling someone all the great things about the city or the town or the subdivision that you live in, right? Thinking about that first 10 seconds and trying to convince them to watch the rest of the video is going to be really important. And so again, it takes practice, but like if I was convincing someone to move to Scottsdale, Arizona, and that was what my video was about, my hook would be, hey, in this video, we're going to go through 5 great reasons you should move to Scottsdale, Arizona. And then I usually try and do some type of teaser at the end, because one of the things, and we'll talk about this here, and we talk about like stats and metrics with YouTube. But one thing is they actually look at your watch time, how much of the video someone watches. So if they watch it from the beginning to the end or close to the end, YouTube kind of gives you some props for that. So you'll find on YouTube, people kind of try and convince you to watch to the end. So I might say, I've got 5 great tips to move to Scottsdale. And at the very end, I'm going to tell you my favorite restaurant that I love to go to. That is a decent hook because you're kind of convincing them in the first 10 seconds that you've got some really great things to tell them about the place that you live. And you might give them a little secret tidbit or a secret piece of information at the very end. Additionally, what makes great video at the end of the day is exciting and engaging content. So it doesn't matter what you're talking about, but just trying to be engaging and being exciting about it is an important piece of it. Now, at the same time, when we feel uncomfortable shooting video, I know it can sometimes feel like our videos are the opposite of exciting, but just something to work on as you start to publish videos. Some of my first videos weren't exciting and they weren't engaging, and you have to publish them anyways, but it's something you should be thinking about as you, again, work on recording more videos and publishing more videos is how can I be more exciting? How can I be more engaging? And whether it's you that's engaging or the content that's engaging, it's an important piece of what makes a great video. Another piece is as little dead space or rambling as possible. Sometimes we can get on a tangent and we talk about something, and what was supposed to be a 5-second point is a 30-second point, right? And even though we feel like those 25 extra seconds were needed, if they're not really needed and we lose the audience and they end up clicking away, that can hurt our video. So as little dead space and rambling as possible. And sometimes this is done in editing, and sometimes you just have to come at it with the mindset of, analyzing and auditing really every single piece. I've recorded videos before and I made, a 30-second point. And then I said, do I really need the last 15 seconds? Even though it's a good addition to my first point, do I really need it? If not, I'll try and cut it because I want my videos to be, back to what we talked about before, as short as possible while also covering the topic thoroughly. Great stuff, Isabel. We got some video editing apps in there. And then the final tip is content that matches what the user is looking for. And so what I mean by this is when you publish a video of the reasons to move to Scottsdale and someone clicks on it, they're looking for reasons to move to Scottsdale. I think so often what we can get complicated with or lose track of is we want to fit all the great things about Scottsdale, but we labeled it reasons why people should move to Scottsdale. You should really try and stick to that topic. And the other thing I tell people too, when they're creating a channel, is your channel should also typically stick to a topic. So you're going to have to figure out what that is. Is your channel all about real estate? Is it all about the community? Is it all about, the community that you live in? Whatever that looks like. And it can be as broad or as narrow as you want, but it should be generally about the same thing. I think where people really struggle with YouTube is they start a channel, they do one real estate video, and then they do one vlog, and then they do one cooking video, and they kind of do these different topics. And not only is the person who clicked on your real estate video probably not interested in your cooking video, but YouTube doesn't know who to push your content out to. If our channel is really one specific thing, again, it can be narrow, it can be more broad, but if it's about one particular thing, moving to our area, real estate in our area, how to do a real estate transaction, our community, then as people watch our channel, YouTube knows who to push our content out to. So content that matches what the user is looking for is a really, really important piece. So let's touch on editing videos. Again, another maybe sticking point on why people don't do YouTube, why people don't do video is they're worried about the editing, and editing can be a lot, and it can feel like a lot for a lot of people. A lot of people try and edit their own videos, and you can do that. And so I've seen some recommendations in the chat. Isabel recommended a few: CapCut, InShot. Heather recommended Canva and InShot. You can absolutely edit your own videos. And if you're going to edit your own videos, again, just try and absorb the things we talked about in this session, where it's like, we want to cut out as much dead space. We want to make our videos as engaging and as exciting as possible. One maybe sales pitch for not editing your own videos, and it's something I learned the hard way, is it can take a lot of time. Editing is an art form, and unless it's something you're passionate about and you're excited about doing, it can also end up being a burden on having consistency with your channel, right? I got to a place where I was trying to publish 1 to 2 YouTube videos a week, and it was taking me 1 to 2 hours to edit them. Well, now that video that maybe took me a half hour to shoot is really taking me another 2 to 3 hours to edit. Now I'm blocking off like 8 hours of my week, and it ended up becoming more of a burden than something I was excited about. And so I looked to actually outsource my editing. And so there are some fairly cheap outsourcing options if it's something that's in your budget and something you're interested in. 2 options for outsourcing. One is a website called Fiverr, and you've probably heard of them. They'll do everything from business cards to design jobs, whatever it is. I mean, you can find a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they design
building a website. Yeah, they've got a ton of options. And so you can find video editors there. And I've heard a lot of agents who have had success with that. The other website that I've used a ton is called Upwork. And it's very similar to Fiverr. You basically post a job. You're looking for a video editor. You post the rate you're willing to pay, and you will get people from all across the country or all across the world, depending on what you're looking for, actually applying to be your video editor. And if you're going to hire it out, just know that, I would recommend you hire a couple different people at first and test out their different abilities and test out, again, what you get for the price point. There was at one point in time, I hired an editor in the Philippines, and I paid them $9 an hour. And that worked great for a while, but then eventually, the video quality wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. And so I hired someone else here in the States. And I pay that person right now like $20 an hour. But what I found is, even at $20 an hour, he's able to get the work done quicker than the other individual I was hiring. So I can now get a video edited in like 2 hours for $20 an hour, is like $40. And that's an investment I'm willing to make in my channel, because I want to have that consistency, and I wanted to kind of take that piece off of my own plate. So if it's in your marketing budget and it's something you want to do and you want to be consistent with, and the editing doesn't sound fun, just know that you have options out there to go and have your videos edited for you. Looks like we have some other video editing options. I mean, you can always find someone local too. There's a ton of options to hire it out. When you're editing your own videos, or when you're hiring someone to edit your own videos, there are some things that you want to look for, right? Again, engaging, exciting videos are really, really important. Cutting out all the dead space is really important. And then a lot of editors, what they'll do is they'll actually add stock footage and titles and sometimes music to your videos, which all of that stuff, when done correctly, can make your videos more engaging, can add to how plugged in people are to your content and how much success your videos have. So whether you're going to edit your own videos or you're going to have someone else do it, just think about those things: cutting out the dead space, exciting, engaging videos, adding stock footage. There's a lot of great stock footage services out there, and then adding titles, which most editing softwares are available to do. Music is hit and miss. I've added some music to my videos, and honestly, I thought it was a little distracting. And so I actually stopped adding some music to my videos, but I've also seen other creators on YouTube do it with a lot of success. And it was done much better than the individual that did it for me. So might be something you want to consider if it's done right. Now, the one thing with music, and I'll just kind of give a blanket caveat, is you can't ever, especially if you're editing your own videos, you can't ever put anything already copyrighted in your videos. It's a quick way for YouTube to take your video down and potentially shut your channel down, right? So you can't go and put, you know, Jimmy Buffett cheeseburger in paradise as the background music. YouTube will stop it real quick, right? So if you're going to add music, make sure it's the correct music and done correctly. Okay. Just checking the comments here. Okay, perfect.
Is there a place where you can find if you're allowed to use that music, or where we can find music maybe for free to use?
Good question. So there's a couple sites. If you Google royalty-free music, and I'll put that here in the text chat, royalty-free music, there are a lot of services out there. And typically it's not just, I mean, there are some places where you can get free music that is royalty free, but the selection isn't always the best, and it can be difficult to kind of navigate through. Sometimes paying for a service, and I've seen them as low as like $15 a month, and they give you, you know, a pool of songs. You can kind of pick the genre. You can listen to it before you decide to download it. You know, there are some services out there that kind of offer that. I'm not remembering any of them off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've played around with them, but I'm happy I can do some research and report back to this group.
No, that was you answered. Thank you.
Of course. So the other piece to this, right, is the actual content, right? So if you need content ideas, right, where do you go? And so here are my tips. The first one is, again, remembering your goal. And when I always say that, it's because, again, it feels like we can easily get lost with YouTube, but we should remember our goal, and we should remember what our channel is about. And if we want to do real estate and we want to generate real estate clients, I recommend your goal and your channel be about your community, the buying and selling real estate process, moving to, and the pros and cons of living in your area. But if you need content ideas, remember your goal and do some research. And so I always tell people, go to YouTube, and there are now a ton of real estate agents out there who are doing stuff on YouTube, who are generating clients with it. And you don't have to copy and paste their exact content, but take what they're doing for their area and make it work for your community, make it work for your area. Again, some really good content ideas for real estate agents are the pros of living where you live, the cons of living where you live, your favorite restaurants, the best things to do in your community, the best reasons to live in your area, right? The worst things about your area, the real estate process in your area. What are some things that people should think about before they decide to buy in your area? All of those, again, are kind of around that real estate topic, are good options in terms of creating videos. Use YouTube, do your research, again, look up what some other agents are doing and tweak it to your marketplace. Stick to a niche. Again, if you're going to be real estate related, community related, then have it be real estate and community related. You know, again, we can sometimes get sidetracked and we do a cooking video and a personality video, and it ends up confusing the end user and can sometimes confuse that YouTube algorithm as well. The last tip here with content ideas is there are some great tools out there to help you with actually YouTube optimization and coming up with content ideas. So there's two that I recommend and have used. One is called vidIQ, and the other one is called TubeBuddy. And both of those services are there strictly to help you build a better YouTube channel. So they'll actually, it's a Google Chrome extension that you install. Both of them, I think, have a free version and a paid version that you can utilize. But when you're uploading your video, it will help you optimize it. And they actually have tools in the back end to help you with the content. So like vidIQ has content ideas that they send me every single day based on my channel, which is kind of a really cool feature. Both of these are great. I used TubeBuddy for a really long time, and I just recently switched to vidIQ. And I think I like it a little bit more. So if you're looking at those services, either one is great. They have different pricing options, and I think both of them have a free option, but a good option if you need some content ideas. Okay. I got one more slide, and then we'll actually jump into a YouTube video that I've uploaded and already optimized, and we'll talk through kind of what that looks like. So there are some metrics as you start to upload, as you start to grow your channel. There are really two important metrics. We get caught up with subscribers, and I think we get caught up with likes, right? It's some of these vanity metrics. At the end of the day, if your number one goal is to generate real estate clients and to build a local following, you don't need that many followers, right? You can do that and you can generate clients and deals from, 50 people following you, 100 people following you, especially if you're covering a really niche topic or a really local community. You don't need that many subscribers to actually show up on YouTube. Again, if you have a really niche video about the complex you live in or the best places for the best senior communities for people to move into, if someone's searching that on YouTube, there's a chance that your video pops up. So don't get too caught up on subscribers and likes and even views to start out, because it's going to take some time for your channel to grow. As you start to publish and you start to get some views, there are two really important metrics. The first one is called click-through rate. And if we have time, I can actually show you this in my YouTube channel. Click-through rate is the rate at which when someone sees your video on YouTube, they click through to the video. Google uses this because they want to know, hey, what videos look the best? What videos look the most engaging? And so a good click-through rate is like 3 to 5%. And so as you start to get views and as YouTube starts to show your video to people, that's something you want to look at. Am I in that 3 to 5% range? If you're lower than that, then that tells me you need to work on one of two things. You need to work on your title and or your cover art. And we'll touch on cover art when I kind of show you the optimized video here. The other metric that's really important is watch time, right? So that's why in this presentation, I tried to really stress engaging, exciting videos, because Google is looking at how much of your video are people watching. They're looking at how much time. So like, was it 2 minutes or 5 minutes? And then they're also looking at what percentage. So even if you had a 3-minute video, did someone watch 50%? Did they watch 60%? Did they watch 10%? If they only watched 10% of your video, that kind of tells Google, maybe this wasn't the most exciting and engaging video out there. And they might try and push something else if there's another video that kind of meets someone else's search criteria a little bit better, that might be a little more engaging. So watch time and watch percentage, the average that I always try and shoot for is 50%. And maybe that seems low, but 50% on YouTube is pretty good. So if someone's watching your video and they watch at least 50%, you know that you have a pretty good and engaging video. And the reason why that average is so low is because it's 2022, right? People watch part of your video, they get distracted, they click something else, they might click back later. So 50% average watch percentage is really good. And if you're lower than that, that's okay, right? It might be the topic, it might be whatever. Just try and work on maybe making your video a little bit more engaging on the next turn, okay? Okay, that was my slides, and I'm going to jump over to YouTube, and I'm actually going to show you a video that I uploaded so you can see what's behind the scenes, and I can kind of walk you through what a perfectly optimized, granted this is a test video, looks like. So let me move over here. Let me see, and I'm going to share a different screen. 1 second. Here we go. Can you guys see this okay?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So this is the back end of, I told you I put content out on a channel called After the License, and it's all for real estate agents. And so this is what the back end of a channel looks like. And if you want to create your own channel, and maybe we should have touched on this on the slide, it's pretty easy. If you have a Gmail account, you go up to this button here at the top right, and it's probably your Gmail photo or whatever that looks like. Mine says your channel here again, but if you're on YouTube, it'll say create channel. You come up with a channel name and you'll essentially land on this page here where you can start uploading and creating content. And then when you want to upload a video, it's pretty simple. There's this create button up here at the top right. You hit create, upload, and you can upload that file like we talked about. And again, you want it to be horizontal for the most part. YouTube's experimenting with some vertical videos to kind of compete with Instagram and TikTok, but for the most part, it's a horizontal platform. You can go and you can drag and drop that in here and upload it. And then I've uploaded a video here, and I'm going to click the details here so you can kind of see exactly all of the things you're going to have to think about when you upload. And again, this is maybe best case scenario. But it's important for us, I think about as we're recording and as we're actually uploading. So I just uploaded this quick 7-second video. And the first thing you're going to need for your video is a title, right? And whatever your video is about, whether it's about your community, the reasons to move to your city or your state or your local area, you're going to want your title to be catchy, and you're going to want it to draw in people, and you want it to be filled with keywords, right? So this test video, in a hypothetical situation, maybe it was about the process of buying a house here in Phoenix. You'll notice that in my title, I put how to buy a home in Phoenix, and then I did a little line, and I did first time Phoenix home buyers. I actually tried to squeeze 2 keywords in there. When we can do that, right, that's a great signal to YouTube. Hey, my video is probably helpful for people who want to buy a home in Phoenix and people who are potentially first-time home buyers, right? And this can be a lot of different things. This could be the best community to move to. But just know that your title is really important. We want it to be catchy. We want it to draw people in. And when we talked about that click-through rate, if people aren't clicking on your video, there's a chance that you maybe need to tweak your title a little bit. Okay. The next section in here is your description. So YouTube looks really heavily at your description to, again, try and sort out where your video belongs in the YouTube universe. And so what I try and do is I try and actually include those keywords that I included in my title, the keywords that I was thinking about when I recorded my video, and I try to include them in here in the description as much as I can. So you'll notice my title, I put how to buy a home in Phoenix. For my description, I almost copied that exactly, except I put it in a question form. I said, want to learn how to buy a home in Phoenix? Because what I'm doing is, again, I'm reinforcing to YouTube, hey, I kind of want my video to show up when someone types in how to buy a home in Phoenix. And then again, first-time home buyers, I put, are you a first-time home buyer? And then I try and put a video description in here. The more content we can put in here, the better. And again, the more relevant it can kind of be to our video, and what we're hoping people search when they find our video is really important. So I put in this video, we'll touch on everything you need to know about buying a home in Phoenix. We'll touch on the Phoenix purchase contract, how to open up escrow in Arizona, and what you need to do to close on a new Scottsdale home. Again, Scottsdale, Phoenix, conflicting there, but I did it as an example. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that hashtags actually exist on YouTube too. And so you can include up to 3 hashtags in your description here and actually have your video show up for those hashtags. So I always try and add a couple hashtags to every video I do. So again, for this example, I did hashtag Phoenix real estate, hashtag buying a home in AZ, hashtag Arizona real estate sales. And then the other thing I recommend, and just a general rule with Google, what I've learned is the more content, the more information we can give Google, the better off we typically are. And so YouTube released this thing maybe a year or so ago called chapters. And maybe if you've clicked around on YouTube, you've seen it, where you're watching a video and it tells you you're on this chapter and you can jump to this chapter or this time slot. You can add those in your video really, really easily by just putting the times in here. So as an example, I did it. So 00, how to buy a home in Phoenix, 01:00, the purchase contract. That tells YouTube at the 1 minute mark, someone can click to that timestamp and jump to that chapter. And again, you can continue to do that. 02:35, the best senior living communities. And that would be a chapter in my video that someone can jump to. Now, I recommend you add chapters to your video, but you want them, again, to be pertinent to the video and make sure they kind of coincide with what you're trying to do there, right? You don't want to just add a bunch of chapters, every 3 seconds to add chapters, right? You want to make sure they pertain to the video and they make sense, because remember, YouTube's actually watching where people jump to and how much of your video that they watch. And so that's all you need to do is do that in the description to add some timestamps to your video. Thumbnail, I don't have an example thumbnail here for you today. I apologize. I can try and find one real quick, but I do recommend for everyone uploading a thumbnail. If you hover over this question mark, it kind of gives you the size and the ratio. I use Canva. Canva is a fantastic tool. It's really easy. You can create a 16:9 image and you can upload it here and it makes it really simple. We talked about outsourcing your actual video editing. You can outsource the cover image creation as well. Some tips on the thumbnail is, as much as we maybe don't love it, the more we can show our face, it's statistically shown and proven that if a face, a human face with eyes that people can see, show up in a thumbnail, it's more likely to get clicked on than just an image with text or even an image with, an image of a building, right? So it feels weird, it feels goofy, but uploading a thumbnail with your image on there and some text about the video increases that click-through rate in a really important way.
We have two questions.
Yep.
Jordan wants to know, can she edit her video description and title after you've already posted?
Yes, good question. You can. So the trick of the trade and the research I've done is you really want to try and do it before you've published. YouTube doesn't always love editing videos later. And it doesn't mean you can't do it, you can. But in a perfect world, you do it before you hit publish. But if you've already hit publish on stuff and you need to spruce up some titles and some descriptions, you can absolutely go back and edit those. The one thing you can't change on YouTube is it'll never let you swap out the video. Once you've hit publish, that's the video that's live. You can delete that video and upload a new version, but it won't let you swap it out. So like I've accidentally uploaded the wrong edited version of the same video. I just had to delete it and start over. So great question there, Jordan. I see the other one. Maybe write the description and chapters first to stay on track and keep concise. I love that strategy, Amy. So, and you hit the nail on the head. So like when I'm recording my YouTube videos, I start with the research piece. So I'm going to YouTube and I'm saying, okay, what do I want to create a video on? I want to create a video on the purchase contract, for a first-time home buyer in Phoenix. I will actually write the title out and I'll do some brainstorming on there. And I'll say, okay, I want to touch on these 4 items in this video. And I know I need a hook. And then that's kind of what I actually try and record my videos off of. And then you have that info to then go and add to your description and to the chapters later on. So that's a fantastic piece of advice, Amy. The more you can, the most important thing I've learned is like the more diligent we are about YouTube, the more success you tend to have. And so I don't want that to dissuade you from going out and just start shooting and publishing videos, because that ultimately is the most important piece. But if we do a little research on the front end, we can tend to have more success with our videos. So great point there. Okay. Couple more things here just really quickly, and then we'll answer any other questions you guys have. So Canva is great for thumbnails. If you feel comfortable with it, put your face in the thumbnail. I know it seems goofy, but it helps it a ton. Best practice is to always add your video to a playlist. So you can come in here and you can create any new playlist that you want. So again, maybe you're teaching someone about the purchase contract in your area. Then you can create a new playlist and title it, Arizona purchase contract walkthroughs. And it's just another spot where you can add some keywords, you can add some context to your video, and you can associate your video with that playlist. So you can go and you can hit create, and then you can actually associate your video with more than one playlist. And so I've got a bunch of playlists for this channel. When I create a new video, I come in here and I say, okay, is this real estate industry news? Is this helping people getting their license? And I'll check box a couple of these. Because again, I'm trying to tell YouTube, this is what my video is about. This is who's going to care about this, is people who are searching for these things. So playlist is really good. The rest of this is kind of automatic. So most of you are not going to be creating videos for kids. So you're going to want to keep this at a no. If you click yes here, your video goes under an extra level of scrutiny because YouTube does not want to show anything to kids that's not meant for kids. So for almost everyone and every one of my videos, I click no on this. My videos are for real estate professionals. They're not for kids. So most likely yours are the same way. You're not going to have any paid promotion, so I wouldn't worry about this. There is an automatic chapters thing in here. So we talked about adding your own chapters. If you don't have time or you don't have chapters to add, you don't need to. You can do this, allow automatic chapters, but the recommendation would be to add your own. Tags. So tags is another way of kind of telling YouTube what your video is about. And so you get 500 characters of tags. And so the recommendation here is you want to add all the tags that someone might search for on YouTube that might pertain to your video. So again, in this example, I did how to buy a home in Phoenix, first-time home buyers. And you'll see here the tags that I've added are first-time home buyer in Phoenix, how to buy a home in Phoenix. And I would, if this was a real video I would publish, I would continue with this, right? I would do Phoenix first-time home buyers. And all of this kind of maybe sounds redundant because I'm saying the same thing in a little different way, but it's really helpful. If you're noticing the blue, the light blue here on my screen, this is that vidIQ software that I've purchased that's helpful in kind of optimizing your video. So you'll see here that vidIQ actually gives me like an SEO score up here. Again, I'm not selling any vidIQ subscriptions or anything, just trying to, this is why I like it, right? So like with this tag section, vidIQ has this thing where it's actually recommending some tags for me. And so vidIQ, I can come in here, I can click these and add these really simply. We could probably do a whole video on some of these other, or a whole training session on some of these other tools, but they're really helpful just for these types of things because you can preview your video and search results and they'll help you with tags and optimization and things of that nature. Last piece there, this section is called video elements. So again, if you've been on YouTube, you can come in here, you can add your own subtitles, recommended, but it's not necessary. I don't add subtitles to any of my videos. You can add little cards to pop up. So in the middle of the video, if I wanted to shout out another video, I can come in here and I can add a card and I can click another video and that'll show up in the video when someone's watching it. So these things, the more of these things you can add, again, YouTube and Google tends to really like it. And then last thing, visibility. So to be, you know, the goal with YouTube is to create public videos. So when you go and create your videos, at the end of the day, at some point in time, you're going to have to get to the spot where you click public. You can, and what I do with a lot of my videos is I will either start with them unlisted. So when someone asks about going and changing the description and the title, what I do is I make my videos unlisted and I can go back and I can edit those titles and I can edit those descriptions. But you, again, in a perfect world, have those done before you go to public. The other thing you can do is schedule your videos out. So, you know, what I try and do is I try and bulk record mine. I'll record 2 or 3, get them edited from my editor. I upload them. And then I have in the next 2 to 3 weeks worth of videos. So you can come in here and you can schedule it. You can pick the day and the time. And then this premiere feature, and it's available when you schedule or when you hit publish. It's kind of a funky thing where YouTube tells all of your subscribers, hey, Jeff published a video, let's all watch it together. I like the premiere because it's another notification if anyone is actually following you that, hey, you've published a video. I know we're running out of time and I'm happy to stay late and answer any questions. Do you mention?
There are some questions there, so I'll let you
Perfect.
look at that after.
Do you mention the video card in your video? Yes. And so that's a good strategy when you're creating your video. What I try and do is, especially at the end of the video, is try and call out maybe another video that I've done. In a perfect world, if someone watches one of your videos and then goes to watch another one of your videos and then another one of your videos, YouTube is clued in and says, hey, this person really likes Isabel's channel, right? And so they'll still kind of continue to promote your stuff. So if you can help facilitate that, it's really beneficial. So in some of my videos at the very end, I'll say, hey, you just watched a video about marketing to your database and sphere of influence. Check out my other video where I talk about retargeting ads, which is great for your database and sphere of influence. And then I'll do the cards, or the other one is the end screen right at the end. So mentioning those things can be really, really powerful. Blanca asks, when you choose a name for your channel, what do you suggest you use to be more successful? The name of your company, a fun name. This is a fantastic question, and probably something I should have touched on more. Any channel name will work. I mean, if you wanted to do yourself, if you wanted to brand your brand or your real estate team, but a lot of people suggest, specifically in the real estate space, that if you're going to be like a community ambassador, using that community name in your YouTube channel name is kind of a shortcut to potentially showing up in search results, right? So again, if I wanted to do a channel specifically for Scottsdale, I might create my channel Jeff Bittner, the Scottsdale Realtor, or you'll notice there's a lot of channels on YouTube moving to Scottsdale, and that's the name of their channel. And why do they do that? They do that because they hope that they show up when someone searches moving to Scottsdale. So it's a little bit of a shortcut, but it's powerful if you can kind of take care of that, or if you can kind of incorporate that.
We have about 2 more minutes. Amy said, how is that done with the video card?
Let me see here. Amy, can I get a little more clarification, the video card? So there's the end screen, and I can actually show you another video here. It wouldn't let me do an end screen on that one because it was a test video. It was too short, but so this is a video I created for just my channel here. And let me get to it. I can't, let's see here, editor maybe. Oh, I bet it's back here in details. So once you've published the video, it looks a little bit different. So this is what a published video looks like. But that end screen, let me click on this here. You can see here, this is the end 15 seconds or 20 seconds of my video. You have the option to kind of add different elements here. So you can add a suggested video, and you can do your most recent upload. You can have YouTube suggest a video, or you can suggest a video. So, you can kind of move these around. And there's also a subscribe option. So when I'm doing the video, and I'm hoping this is what you're talking about, at the very end, I say, hey, and I'll turn my camera on here. I say, hey, up here at the top left, I'm going to suggest a video, and I'm kind of pointing to the area that I think it's going to show up in. And then I set those cards later on. So where do we put our contact info and required DRE information? Don, great question. I think that's maybe a question maybe best for your broker. I've seen some people put it in their video descriptions. I've seen other people put it in the actual video, like when they're editing it, it's at the bottom of every single video. If you're in a really strict state like California or Texas and you have TREC docs, I would talk to your broker about what makes the most sense there, because you ultimately do want to be compliant there. And I'm not sure, I'm not the one qualified enough to tell you that, unfortunately. I create an image on Canva and add it to my videos. Yeah. And so again, when you're editing a video, you can do a lot of cool stuff like that, right? You can add video, you can add images, still images. And so whether you're editing it or having someone else edit your videos, there's a lot of great options there. If you do a still image or a screenshot or something along those lines.
Dawn gives just the answer to it is our California brokers, you have to send our videos to the team to allow to give us the green light to allow those videos to go to YouTube. I know there's like a bunch of things that we have to do, so I suggest that you head over to broker's room for every video. Yes. But I suggest over to broker's room so they can give you the format, and then you can just produce it on every video, and then you don't have to go back. As long as you have that stamp of approval and that format, you'll be okay. You just need to get that format from them.
Oh, thank you very much.
Is that only when you're using the brokerage's logo?
that is when we are doing anything, we're supposed to use it whenever we're promoting stuff having to do with real estate or real estate services, especially if we're like selling a house. But yes, we're supposed to have our information at some point. And I don't know if it's specifically in a video or if it has to be on our YouTube channel. I'm not sure. It's a broker thing, or like you can look at our docs in our California State room. It's posted in there. That's all.
So everybody just make sure you check with your broker.
Yes,
Thank you.
of course.
All right, Jeffrey, I think some of us on the East Coast have dinners because it's 7 p.m. here. And I think on the West Coast, you guys are going to be starting to make dinner.
Yes. Yes. Well, pleasure coming in and popping in and talking through YouTube. If there's anything I can help you guys with, don't hesitate to ping me on Workplace. I'm happy to help. Check out After the License YouTube channel. And I would love to see any channels you guys create as well. And I'm happy to kind of help engage and like and comment and do all of that fun stuff. So
Thank you so
thanks
much.
for asking so many fantastic questions. Yeah.
It was awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Laura, thank you for getting him to come. I appreciate it.
Yes. Big shout out to Laura. Thank you so much.
So on behalf of Donald, Laura, and myself, the Seniors Network, we appreciate you coming and joining us here at Mastermind Tuesdays. I am signing off. I'm going to go have dinner right now. See you guys later.
Everyone enjoy dinner.
So
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.